Hi, I'm Roz and I'm the owner of So Much Fun. I have been sewing since the age of 6. It was my best subject at school and I followed through and studied at London College of Fashion. I have now had at least 30 years experience in the clothing industry and I have now decided to open my own shop to share my knowledge and enthusiasm for sewing and all my designs. Now I'm going to show you how to actually use your sewing machine. And when you've just got a sewing machine for the first time, you really need to get confident with using it before you actually do any sewing of any kind. So I just want to introduce you to the main bits that we need to sort of understand when we're sewing with the sewing machine. So we've already got it threaded and we know that it's working okay. The next things that we need to understand is how it actually works. And basically the needle is going down and it's collecting and linking with the thread underneath. So the stitch is forming itself by the two threads going together. So what we're doing is we're guiding and controlling what we're going to sew. So with my students, I always get them starting on a piece of paper with a few lines drawn on it and some wiggly lines drawn on it as well. And this I can show you then how we need to hold our fabric. So if we pretend this paper's fabric, you can see at the moment it's moving around anywhere. On every machine you need to learn how to clamp your fabric down, and we use this by using the press-a-foot clamp to hold our fabric firmly in place. Also I want to show you is these little teeth. The teeth, as I turn my hand wheel, you can see that the teeth move up and down. Now it is these teeth that will actually move your fabric along. You're not pushing and shoving with your hands, you're letting the machine actually move your fabric along. So here I'm going to show you, I'm going to put my clamp in place, I'm going to line the middle of my foot up to the middle of my line, I'm going to put my foot on my pedal and I'm going to press, and I'm going to let the sewing machine actually stitch all on its own. So you can see I'm not actually pushing and shoving it, but it is coming off the line. So what I'm actually wanting to do with my hands is guide, and with my hands I'm now guiding that the machine is actually stitching on that line, and that's how I start to sew a straight line. Now obviously not all our sewing is about stitching straight. We have to learn how to move, and how we move is we actually stitch where we want to stitch, we then stop and we want to put the needle down, and then that allows us to spin. If we take our press-a-foot up, we can spin wherever we want to sew next. So I can then reposition myself, put my clamp down and start stitching again. So again I'm going to put my foot down. I'm beautifully off these lines, but it's the principle that I want to show you about sewing different angles. Put it down. Now on this lovely machine we can actually automatically get it to stitch with the needle down, so the next stitch I'm going to do is automatically going to be down. So I can just stitch and move, stitch and move. And this is one of the great things if you're going to do a lot of applique. I then get to the end, press a foot up, wind my needle up, and I can take my thread out and cut it off at the side. Now one final thing I'm going to show you is just how we would actually sew a seam, and we want to make sure that this seam is the same distance from the cut edge. I'm going to stitch a few stitches in, but then to secure this seam so it doesn't come undone, I'm going to stitch a few stitches backwards and that secures it. And then I'm going to do a nice straight stitch all the way along. And then a few stitches backwards at the end and off. And that is how I sew a nice strong seam that won't come undone. There you go.